Hello YouTube, this is Hyboman here with my first part of my Terrorcons review, and I am here with Hun-gurr, the Terrorcon leader. As I said in my intro video, Hun-gurr is a two-headed lizard. He's mostly white, with some gray in these pieces in here and pink along his back. Now, in his lizard mode, there's not all that much you can do, but he is pretty posable considering that he's a Generation 1 figure, because in his transformation these lizard necks become his two robot legs. You get a nice rotation here in the neck, as well as a side rotation in this other joint up here. I don't really know all the different names for the different kinds of joints, so excuse me, but you have a bunch of different joints, so you can really, at least for a G1 toy, be very creative in your posing of the necks. I like to keep them more like this, just because, one, that keeps him looking straight forward, as well as it gives you more of a place to transform them from and turning them into his legs. His front lizard legs are just on a straight frontwards and backwards pivot, so there's not much you can do with them. But his back legs do, again, have a little bit of posability in that, depending on how you rotate both this lower leg piece as well as this hip joint up here, you can sort of, you can have him more like this, with legs outward, versus, again, I like to keep him compact like this because these become his robot arms when you're transforming him, and keeping them compact keeps the legs nice and rotated back versus straight out, which you have to do to transform him. So that's really all I can say about his lizard mode. Well, there is one more thing I kind of want to say, and that's, I'm not sure if he is actually a lizard. He may be some sort of dragon, because in the show, and according to his bio, stuff that he eats can be regurgitated as some sort of laser or fire blast, and I don't know if that qualifies him as breathing fire or a dragon, so he may just be a lizard that spits at you. I'm not quite sure. Okay, but enough about his lizard mode. To transform him into his robot mode, you rotate both of his necks all the way out and around to the front, so that they're straight and flat, like this. And then you take each of his lizard heads and fold them straight up to become his feet. You then take each of his front legs and rotate them back along this gray pivot here, and then extend each of his two back legs, so the hips now become the shoulders. You then take these little, I don't know if they're going to be hard to see, but he has little toe flaps on his lizard feet. You want to fold these back out of the way, like this. And then that gives you room to fold out his robot hands, which click into place. Then you flip his lizard tail out of the way and rotate his robot head around. And this is Hun-gurr in his robot mode. Again, because of all the different joints you need to transform him, as well as have him as a four-legged lizard with two independent heads, he does have some pretty nice posability for a G1 figure. He has shoulder joints in these elbows, as well as hips, this, whatever this is, I guess would be like a thigh type joint, as well as knees, which, it's not that much, but for a G1 figure it's nice. And with his head being exposed, you get a little bit of extra pink. So that's really all I can say about his physical robot mode. There are two accessories that came with him, which I quickly want to talk about. The first one is this large pink plate. This is normally with combiners a piece of combiner kibble, which, when attached to the leader of the group, who is the main part of the body, becomes a chest plate for the combined robot. So this would be Abominus's chest when you peg it into these two holes. But for Hun-gurr, they actually did add another function to it, where if you flip out this little peg from inside, it's shaped just the right way to fit into his combiner hole on his shoulder, like this. And I guess he's supposed to be using that as a shield. Really, it was just a way so it wasn't just for the combination. And I don't really like it, because it's roughly half the size of his body, and he can only hold it on his shoulder, which doesn't make for a very good shield. Another shield accessory that I can compare this to is on the G1 Ape Face. There is a shield which is part of his tail fins, but they have a peg on that so he can hold it in his hand. So, I don't really like this on him as a shield. I just save it for the combination. Another piece is this rifle laser blaster, which has a peg so that it can fit into his hand. And, you know, it doesn't look terribly bad on him. The gray matches up nicely, and it sort of fits the G1 pattern of having robots with oversized weapons, like with G1 Astro Train, which I have a video of, if you want to see what I'm talking about. But the reason I don't like this on him, and I don't like it on him, is because Abominus needs a weapon. And this is really the weapon you have to give him, because he doesn't have any other kind of... Hello everyone, sorry for the bad edit there for a second, but we were out when I was doing this video, and then we had to leave and come home, so I packed up my stuff, brought it home, and I'm finishing it up here. Basically what I was saying is Abominus doesn't have any kind of special weapon that he can hold, because there are holes on the sides of this, but none of the other Terracon's guns both peg in and stay there solidly, and it doesn't make much sense to me for Abominus to have the same gun as Hun-gurr, because he's special. So I just don't put the gun with Hun-gurr. I leave it off, and then Abominus has a much more in-scale weapon. So that's it for Hun-gurr. I will be continuing the Terracons at a later date. This is Hypoman signing off.